Hey everybody, good morning and welcome to the Let's Talk Q&A live show. We're doing it in the morning now, which is always good. I have a lot more energy in the morning and I want to welcome everybody who is here right now, which includes Kevin Kruger. Kevin Kruger, who is a big Detroit Pistons fan, which of course goes against my New York Knicks, who unfortunately, well, actually very fortunately, could close out the series tonight. Let's just hope that everybody's feeling a little bit healthy. Jalen Brunson was a little bit banged up after the last game. And of course, that game could have gone any other way with the foul that was a mistake. The ref admitted right after the game that they made a mistake not calling a foul. That doesn't help out the Pistons now, does it? Because, of course, they probably at least would have had a shot at winning the game had that foul been called. So kind of sucks. But do I think the Knicks will close out tonight? I do. I mean, once a series goes 3-1 in the NBA, it's almost impossible to reverse that. It's not impossible, but I don't see it happening. It's like the same thing with the Lakers and Minnesota. It looks like Minnesota will probably end up winning that series, which is crazy after that hot run they went on with Doncic right after they got him from the Mavericks. But that's how the NBA works. But happy to see you here, Kevin. Will Dennis and David be on the stream? No, not today, but there will be a live stream on Friday, the Let's Talk morning show with me and Dennis, which, we usually are going to be talking wrestling on that show. But if you guys saw the community post I put out earlier, or I guess at the end of last week, about the fact that, we talked wrestling on that show, but we're actually working on starting a second YouTube channel. We were going to call it Let's Talk Wrestling, but that already exists. So Dennis is kind of working on that and getting that already. It'll be for like a couple weeks, but we're going to keep the movies and wrestling stuff separate. But for now, Dennis will be with me on that Friday show, and we'll talk some wrestling and whatever else we want to talk about. Just kind of like a regular morning show, just kind of chatting, like kind of how this is, but not Q&A really based. But, you guys can ask questions and we'll answer them in that. So that'll be this Friday at, I believe, 7:30 a.m. I'm going to schedule that because Dennis has to go to his regular Joe job at 9. But eventually, we'll probably shift that show over to the wrestling channel. This way, wrestling and movies do not cross over with each other because it's going to be its own entity. The way YouTube works, you just can't have multiple subjects on one channel. It kind of, it confuses people who watch this just for movies, and it also just confuses the algorithm, and they don't know how to push you. So you kind of got to stay on pace with that. And then as far as me and David, I will be talking to David this afternoon for our Commando podcast recording, which will be on the Let's Talk Movies podcast, which will be out sometime next week. When will Faith and Matt do a live stream? If you can twist their arms to get them on here one of these days. When are you going to eat Taco Bell for breakfast on a live? Yeah, actually, Haunted Pillowcase asked me if I would do that today. That's something we'll do probably the next couple of weeks. I had a doctor's appointment before this, so I couldn't really do that. Why do you think people can listen to a song 100 times, but a movie only once or twice? I think it comes down to time, really more than anything. You can listen to a song 100 times in one day if you really want to. You'll burn yourself out. That song's going to be miserable to listen to every other time after that. I don't know how many songs I've burned into the ground just because of over listening. It's like, you find something you love and then you just kill it. And that happens all the time. But a movie, the amount of time you have to invest, especially if it's over 3 hours, set that time aside. They can't really go back to it as much, invest the emotional impact the movie can have. You lose that over time. You can only really watch a movie the first time once, then you analyze it really from there. So with a song, you can do the same thing, but with a shorter song, 3 minutes is 3 minutes compared to, let's just even say, a short film being 90 minutes. It's just not going to happen. For Johnny Balls, are you going to answer my Camel Joe question? I got to be honest, I don't know who Camel Joe is, and I guess it's related to probably cigarettes, right? Because if cigarettes were healthy, would you smoke them? I mean, if they did no damage, why not? But the problem is they do damage. They're, cancer. They give you cancer. And he also says, in your opinion, what is the most iconic cigarette brand? Probably Marlboro, right? The Marlboro Man. He's very famous. I don't think cigarettes are really that famous anymore, and they cost an arm and a leg at this point. But I know if you smoke, you smoke. That's how it goes, right? If you're into it. So we're going to get some, I'm going to upload some stuff so we can get into the questions for this week's Q&A show. You guys know all about the big one is going to be where I rank all my Steelbooks. That's Kevin Kruger's question. Really excited about that one. So we'll get into that. We're also going to do the digital code giveaway. Good morning, Mr. Smelly Potato, our channel bankroll member. Glad you can make it in here, buddy. But yeah, we'll have the digital giveaway at some point in the middle of this show as well. So if you guys are entering into that, we'll screen share that. But let's get into what are the get into the questions. And actually, we'll start with a Mr. Smelly Potato question. What's the most times you saw a single movie in theaters? Mine was Deadpool and Wolverine, 7 times. So for me, the most I ever saw a film in theaters was The Dark Knight, actually. I saw that in theaters 9 times during its initial run, and then when it came out for its anniversary, its 10-year anniversary in 2018, I saw it again for the 10th time. So I got me 10, like to quote the Frighteners. But I would have to say that was the most. I actually saw The Dark Knight 3 times on opening day back in 2008 when movies came out in theaters at actually midnight. If you want to go see a movie opening day, it wasn't like now they have these Thursday night premieres. And for a fucking Marvel movie or any movie like that, they'll put it out like they'll start them at 10 a.m. on Thursdays. Like that's not that you're taking away from what it used to be. It used to be you lined up for a midnight screening. I saw what was it? I saw what was one other one I saw? I remember I was so shot too. And it disappointed me. I'm trying to remember what that movie was. But anyway, talking about The Dark Knight. I saw that. So I saw that at midnight. And then I went back because we had tickets with my family. I was 16 in 2008. So I went with my friends at midnight, saw it in IMAX. Then I went back at 10 a.m. to a regular theater near my house. So I went with my stepfather, my brothers and sisters, because they all wanted to see The Dark Knight because like this was a phenomenon. This was the movie of the summer of 2008. Everyone was seeing this. So I saw that again that morning, and then I went that night with another group of friends who wanted to see The Dark Knight. Because again, being the cinephile that I am, it's hard to find other cinephiles out in the real world. But certain movies, especially in the 2000s, like they would cross over where, my friends and cousins, everyone wanted to see The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger dying, the Joker. It was all just building up to that summer. It was the most anticipated movie. I fell in love with it. There's a reason why I have a Dark Knight tattoo on my wrist. It's kind of hard to see, but it's because of that movie. And it's ironic now because of my love and fandom for The Dark Knight at the time. I don't love the movie as much as I used to back in the day. I mean, this movie was the movie I couldn't wait to get on Blu-ray, but that's just how opinions change all the time. But yeah, you got it. You don't have to be embarrassed about that. Like if there was a movie you loved and you don't like it as much anymore or vice versa, I mean, that stuff does happen. We all age. Like I said, I was 16 in 2008. I love The Dark Knight. Now I still say that Batman 89 is my favorite Batman film. And even from the Nolan's trilogy, I would say Batman Begins is actually the better of them. But that's just my opinion. Rogue 1677. Hey, John, morning, mate. How are you? Good, buddy. Glad you can make it in here. Happy to see you. Mark's movie menu. Howdy. What's up, buddy? Glad you can jump in here too. And Mr. Smelly Potato, Dark Knight is a good choice. Yeah, so I don't know if I got any movie that got even close to that. The only other movie I ever saw on the same day twice was actually The Grinch, How the Grinch Stole Christmas in 2000, because anyone who's a child of divorce will know this. When you your parents are divorced and you may spend half the day with one side and half the day with the other, but they don't communicate with each other because they don't like each other. So in the year 2000, my parents, me and my brother Ryan, we had the same mom and dad. So in the morning we went to the movies and saw How the Grinch Stole Christmas with my mom and my stepdad and my step siblings, and me and my brother Ryan that night went to go see How the Grinch Stole Christmas with my dad and my stepmom because again they didn't communicate with each other, so we had to see that movie twice. And again, ironically, I don't really like How the Grinch Stole Christmas, so that's funny. Christian's here. Christian, what's up, buddy? Good morning. Glad to see that you made it in. What's your go-to breakfast? So funny enough, not the world's biggest breakfast guy. I love breakfast, but I do the increment fasting, whatever they call it, the interval fasting, where I only I don't eat for 16 hours a day and I only eat 8 hours a day. So I only eat from 1 in the afternoon to 9 at night, which is, just helps me lose weight and stay on a healthier diet. So for the most part, my breakfast is just black coffee, but every once in a while I'll break my fast. Like I'm going to break my fast eventually to do Taco Bell breakfast on the Let's Talk morning show. So there'll always be ways where I'll get around that. And if I do choose a breakfast, I'm not really a big egg guy. I'm more of like the sweets guy. So I like, for me, French toast, pancakes, waffles, all the sweets, a nice donut, all the fatty foods that are absolutely horrible and just a bad way to start your day. And then of course, again, like I said, black coffee, even though this one does have a little bit of cream and sugar in it, but it's also got 3 espresso shots. Good way to start the day. I'm also full-blown addicted to coffee. I drink at least like 5 cups of coffee a day, but I've been drinking coffee every day of my life since I was 14 years old. Hey, Jose's here. Good morning, brother. Looking forward to your collection. Yeah, going to show off the Steelbook collection pretty soon. Obviously, that's the big question of the day. I saw Suicide Squad 5 or 6 times. Which one did you see? Was that the original one or did you see the James Gunn? I forget which one. I think that's the Suicide Squad, but I love the Suicide Squad. That's actually one of my favorite DCEU movies of all time. It might be my favorite. I don't remember how I ranked that. That and Man of Steel are really close, but I love the Suicide Squad. I saw the movie Us 3 days in a row when that came out because me and my wife saw it in a standard theater. It was playing in an IMAX theater, and I had to go see it in that. And then it blew me away. And then I went and saw Us again. I still believe that Us is Jordan Peele's best film overall. I know that I'm probably in the minority in that. Most people probably say Get Out, and then I know a lot of people would say no, but Us doesn't get the love it deserves. And this a summer horror film, I think it even deserves more love than that. But hey, that's just how I feel. Let's see what Rogue 1677 said. He said, drinking some Starbucks. I hate coffee. I like Gatorade sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big coffee drinker. And Starbucks is not necessarily my go-to coffee, but I'm off my regular Joe job today. My wife's a big Starbucks drinker. She bought it for me. If I was going to pick a go-to coffee brand, I'm just a regular old-fashioned 7-Eleven guy. But I do live in New York, and the coffee from 7-Eleven in New York definitely tastes different than in other countries, other states, probably other countries too, but at least from other states here in the United States of America. I remember I was where did I go last year? I went to Tennessee. No, I was in Indiana for a Notre Dame game, and their 7-Eleven coffee was horrible. I threw it out. But here in New York, the coffee from 7-Eleven is phenomenal. Also, if I'm going to make it at home, chock full of nuts is a good one. It was the original. So you like the original one. See, I didn't hate the original one like a lot of people did, but I also didn't love it. I have the original one on Blu-ray right over there. I enjoyed a lot of like the first half of that movie. I just at the end of it, I couldn't really. It kind of had me out of it by the third act, but I did enjoy it more than most people did at the time. Um, did we ever get it? We never got like a director's cut of that like we did with Batman versus Superman. Batman versus Superman was one of my biggest letdowns ever, to be honest. And I still haven't even gotten the 4K or gone back to it, despite the fact that I think Ben Affleck is a good Batman. I have Ben Affleck's Batman staring me in the face right now. Thought he did good. Us is a brilliant of a thriller. I agree, Jose. Not many people love that as much. Is a brilliant thriller. Yeah, I knew what you meant. 3 cups of coffee a day. Yeah, that's what you got to have, man. I'm up to 5 now. Again, like I said, full blown addiction at this point. Oh, I just got a notification while I'm on here, you guys. My Black Exploitations will be shipping pretty damn soon. So my Black Exploitations Classics Volume 1 from Shout Factory says that it just shipped, so I can start that review soon. Shamrock Balls. Hey, John. I feel like I just talked to you, David, somewhere. Me and David are going to be recording our Commando show today. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel for that. If you guys are a fan of the Let's Talk Movie podcast, which is one of my favorite things to do here on YouTube and just in general. I just look forward to breaking that down with David and going through an entire film for about 2 hours. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know 2 hours is a long time to commit, but I really think we do nail it. He's just, you're a great guy. Uncle V is here. Ben was top tier as well. I love that. Gotcha, buddy. Uncle V is our channel director and a good friend of mine and just an all-around great guy. 3 cups of coffee for me at 8 p.m. LOL. Yeah, hey, gotta do what you gotta do, buddy, to get through the day. I know that. Have you seen Death of a Unicorn? I haven't seen that yet. I heard it was good. And Accountant 2 was pretty. Let's see what you follow up. Was pretty bomb. Typing too fast. I liked the Accountant 2. I actually have a review up for the channel members right now. If anyone wants to check that out. I thought it was very, very fluff. I got what he was going for there. But yeah, Ben was fluff. Yeah, he was very buff, the guy, though. Also, he had the whole thing. I wasn't a big fan of that Batman versus Superman. It really was a big letdown to me overall. It should have been better. The Martha stuff just drove me crazy. I didn't like the look of the film. Just the CGI just didn't necessarily. It just didn't really feel like Batman or Superman to me necessarily. People love it though, and they love the director's cut, and I can respect that. Not necessarily the Batman. That's why I was so pumped when the Batman came out, and I really enjoy that movie as well. Who knows what's happening with the Batman too? If you guys heard that this thing might actually be canceled, which is wild to me. But if you don't got a script, I mean, Hollywood's a business. You got to make the movie at some point. I can't believe how long it's been since The Batman came out. It's pretty crazy and wild to me. But The Accountant 2 is amazing. If you guys haven't seen The Accountant 2 yet, I wouldn't say amazing is too strong of a word. Sinners is amazing. The Accountant 2 is a good movie to see in theaters. If you like The Accountant 1, it's a different type of movie, but if you liked Christian and you like John Boyega's character, the two brothers, and you want to see more of them and kind of turn it into a buddy comedy action movie, I think that this is the kind of movie you do see in theaters. You'll have a blast. My wife, who loves Sinners, also said that The Accountant 2 is right on pace with that. I disagree, but it was really good. Are you getting Time Cop today? I already have Time Cop, actually, and I've already reviewed it here on the channel. My thoughts on that were that it's a good visual transfer, but unfortunately, they didn't upgrade the audio, which I thought was fine. Some people had a lot more complaints about the audio that have had their copies than I did. I thought it wasn't that bad, but you get no extras. So all you're going to be getting is a visual upgrade, and I believe it was $35, and that's just absolutely ridiculous. And then if you compare it to What Lies Beneath, which is coming out next Tuesday on 4K Blu-ray, that they put a brand new documentary, a new making of documentary on there. It's like Shout made this brand new documentary for it, and they're the same exact price. So one gets all brand new extras and the other one gets nothing. It makes absolutely no sense, and they're the same price. And this is what I try and talk to people about when I'm comparing prices and when I give final grades to physical media. Like, I got sitting right here because we got to do the Steelbooks, and I'm working on the reviews for all these. Dirty Harry's also up for channel members. It'll be up for everybody tomorrow. But like Dirty Harry, The Outlaw Josie Wells, and Pale Rider, I've only watched 2 of those so far, but there's some of the best 4Ks. I know it's a spoiler for my reviews or whatever, but I don't care. I'll just let you guys know right now who are watching. Some of the best 4K Blu-rays I've ever seen, as far as not just visuals, audio, but even extras. And those are way less money than Tombstone was on 4K Blu-ray, which you only received an upgrade to the visuals. No new extras, no new audio, nothing. And that was $55 on the gate, and some people were able to snag it at a low price of $39, which these 4K Steelbooks I pre-ordered off of Groove were $37.99 when I got them, and I got them early. And again, like I said, everything is great. So when you talk about the prices of 4K Blu-rays, to do what Time Cop did, which is the same price of these and give you nothing new but a visual upgrade, and the same thing with Tombstone, you got to kind of look and see what you're getting for the value of your dollar, and you can just see how other studios are with. And it's funny because Warner Brothers, it's not like I'm sitting here going to fanboy over Warner Brothers. What they do on their film side division is nothing more than aggravating. But thankfully they sold like Coyote versus Acme, and that's going to be getting released by the Ketchup Studios of all things. But it's cool that we're finally going to be getting that. So I don't support Warner Brothers. They don't pack the Blu-ray disc in there or anything. They still have their flaws, but for what you get with those releases compared to what you get for like Tombstone and Time Cop, it's just night and day in my opinion. Let's see what else is going on in the chat, and then we'll get into the Steelbook question because I do think that's a big one. Speaking of Shout Factory, Ace Ventura, baby. Yeah, that's very, very true. One of my all-time go-to favorites. That's what I like to call a kidney movie, which means I would sell a kidney for that on 4K Blu-ray. And it's coming, baby. I cannot wait for that July. Haven't pre-ordered yet, but I'm going to go with the standard edition over the Steelbook. The Steelbook doesn't scream Ace Ventura to me, despite it being his hair and the bird. But I don't know. It doesn't scream Ace Ventura Pet Detective, in my opinion. Nowhere on that Steelbook is Snowflake the dolphin. So, I'm going to go with the standard edition, which is just the movie poster. More than fine with me. $33 for that. As long as hopefully we get a visual audio upgrade and some new extras. I've got my fingers crossed on that. Either way, or I've been dying for Ace Ventura on 4K Blu-ray. So yeah, that's a day one release for me. I cannot wait. I'm with you. One of the all-time great comedies, one of my favorite comedies ever. My Tombstone arrived yesterday. And David, you got the slipcover edition, which was not available to us here in the United States, unfortunately. That's just the way she goes sometimes. We got stuck with the Steelbooks, which is a great way to transition into what I'm about to do, which is my Steelbook collection. Let me find the question right here so I can show you guys. So Kevin gets the credit for it. And we'll do a question of the week too this week. Let's see. Just got to find it. Ooh, couple good questions in here. I'm sorry, guys. But anyway, how's everyone? Ooh, okay. Here's a good question real quick. We'll do really fast before we get there. But do you have a director's entire filmography? If so, which one? And I was going through this. The only director that I have their entire filmography of is Quentin Tarantino, my favorite director of all time. Despite being a huge fan of directors like Spike Lee and Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg, I don't have all their movies in my collection. I don't, guys like Steven Spielberg who have 36 movies that they've directed. I don't think every one of those movies are worthy, despite the fact I own his worst movie, in my opinion, which is The Lost World of Jurassic Park. But I don't think every movie from him, but with that amount, deserves to be in my collection. Like, I'm not that kind of guy that, like, I'm not a big completionist. I don't need to have a movie. I've told you guys a million times in the past. I just want to have movies that I'm gonna rewatch in my collection. Certain movies, you watch and you're like, I'm never gonna go back to that. Even if it's from a director you love, you're not gonna go back to all of them. It just doesn't, like, hey, I'm talking about Clint Eastwood here. I haven't bought Play Misty for me, and that's just because I don't know if I'm gonna go back to Play Misty for me. Play Misty for me is good. It's a good directorial debut, but am I gonna go back to it? Am I gonna go back to it on 4K? You gotta ask yourself these questions. The Lost World is underrated. David, I look very, very forward to our Steven Spielberg show in the month of Spielberg coming up pretty soon, because I do think that our top 10 lists are going to be very, very different. So I'm very excited to talk about that. The Lost World is underrated. I might buy the Steelbooks and rewatch The Lost World. It's been 3 years. And I said to myself last time, I wouldn't do this to myself. I have Ace in the Steelbook of him bent down, taking out his butt when you open it and close it. That is an awesome Steelbook to have. May I ask you a question? Oh, classic stuff. You guys can see. So how would you rank the Steelbooks in your Blu-ray collection? So this will include Blu-rays and 4K Blu-rays. Let's see what Christian said. The Lost World used to be my favorite movie ever. Really? So here I am just talking crap about one of your favorite movies ever. To be fair, I did like The Lost World when I was young. I remember the marketing campaign in 1997 for it was huge. They pulled a Jason Takes Manhattan on us all. Like in the trailers and everything, they hyped it, the dinosaur being in San Diego and crushing the city. That happens, but it doesn't happen until like late in the third act. For the most part, I just didn't think Ian Malcolm was supposed to be the lead of that franchise. I thought he worked well in the first one. It worked perfectly. I think Jurassic Park is one of the best movies ever made. But, The Lost World, I don't know. It just doesn't feel the same to me. But I'm always willing to try, and don't let my opinion ruin your opinion. But anyway, I'm going to rank my Steelbook. So actually, believe it or not, I'm not the world's biggest Steelbook guy, which might be a surprise to hear from me. I just usually like to tend to go, let me make this full screen so you guys can see everything, right? You're going to want to see everything. See all of my Steelbooks, right? So anyway. I'm not the world's biggest steelbook guy. If a good slipcover comes out, I'll grab the slipcover instead. Save a little bit of money. I don't like it when they force a steelbook on us. Sony's the king of this. Just happened here in the United States with Tombstone, and Disney's doing it again next month, and they've done it with Willow. Like in the United States only, though. That's what makes it a little bit strange. In the UK, for some reason, not only does Warner Brothers give them like these beautiful collector's editions, but here in the United States, we don't even get those as well. It just feels like we're kind of getting cheaped out here. Steelbooks lose novelty. Yeah, that is again true. They do if you keep re-releasing them, and you kind of lose their special ability that Uncle V's talking about, like what makes them feel unique. If we just keep re-releasing them or just giving them, I know people were pissed. Did you guys see that RoboCop 2 Steelbook? Let me see if I can pull that up, because I could actually screen share with you guys. But hold on one second. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is pretty wild. Images. All right, I can find it. I found it. All right, this is pretty ridiculous, but you guys got to see this. Image file. Like, do you guys see RoboCop's face right there? Like with his mouth wide open like that, he looks ridiculous. So I mean, that's a horrible image at all, but still, I just had to show you guys. Like, look at his face. Look at his mouth wide open. Other than that, the colors are cool, but this is a pretty wild looking steelbook in my opinion. This is going to be coming out in July. Just this already has a 4K Blu-ray release, but now it's got a 4K steelbook coming up. They're doing that again with the what the fuck is that? I know, right? It's one of the worst looking. His mouth's open like. It looks like it's that scene from RoboCop 1 that became like a meme. So I don't know what the hell they were thinking about that, but that is one of the worst looking. At least RoboCop looks bad, and that the colors are cool, but I don't know how that got past the approval process. It almost looks AI, but from what I found out, it's not AI. So because I had to look into it, I'm like, how did that get past somebody? All right, but anyway, I keep talking and I haven't shown you guys a steelbook yet. So here it goes. I'm going to show you guys all of my steelbooks. Like I said, I would probably say this is about 1/10 of my entire collection are these 4K steelbooks. I'm for the most part, I like the 1,000 movies that you can see it. I pulled all the steelbooks off. You can see some gaps and everything in there, but for the most part, I'm not full blown committed to steelbooks. This looks like an unlicensed recreation. It does. It's terrible. I don't understand. I mean, I just feel like sometimes Warner Bros. The kings of like terrible alternate artwork. I'm surprised again that they did so well with these right here. But let's start from the bottom. So the worst 4K steelbooks I believe I have in my collection. And you know what's funny about this is Paramount. They fixed this. They rectified the problem and they released these in the right form years later. But I already bought them, and I'm not somebody who's double dips or can really afford to double dip like that too often. I will eventually, at least probably for the first three. But Indiana Jones and their 4K steelbooks that came in this white housing. This came like this. This drives me absolutely insane. But you know, if you come inside, they all kind of have like this design. Again, like when you're pulling out, now the dividers are gone. So it's the cheapness of these. Like these are not the worst looking. I don't hate them, but like you know, Raiders of the Lost Ark, like, white is not a good base color, I think, for Indiana Jones, and they obviously realized because they stopped with these. And next up, again, it's very similar to that. It just doesn't screw. This just like kind of looks like a very cheap. Let's release this on 4K Blu-ray, but this isn't even a 4K Blu-ray. It's just a Blu-ray. But Bone Tomahawk. This is a great movie. The Steelbook, it just I don't know. I don't love it. Don't love the Steelbook. That's the only reason. Although I do like the individual disc design. And this one. This is one of my favorite 90s movies. I distinctly remember seeing this in theaters. I remember the lenticular VHS cover in theaters. In theaters in Hollywood Video. I remember it's just like one of those core memories. And this 4K Blu-ray deserves so much more than this, what I call very cheap looking steelbook. Just too busy for me. I don't really like it when they do things like this. And it's all just kind of like a semi-gloss finish. I don't know. I don't love this 4K steelbook. If this one kind of got a new release, I might upgrade it. Like, I don't know. Just doesn't scream Men in Black. Let's see. Aaron Clicks here. Good morning, Aaron. Glad you could pop in. All right. Next up, this is The Predator. The movie itself is not great, directed by Shane Black. You can argue this is probably the worst Predator movie. And again, it just looks I'm not blown away by the steelbook. Actually, this is people are talking about the Predator in the new movie. That's an ugly looking Predator. Next up, I got X-Men Apocalypse. Haven't upgraded this to 4K Blu-ray. This is the initial Blu-ray release. The reason being, actually, this isn't X-Men Apocalypse. This is Black Panther. X-Men Apocalypse was somewhere around here. Similar looking, actually. You'll see when we get to X-Men Apocalypse. But yeah, I feel like Black Panther deserves more than this. It's just very plain silver. I do like this on the side. I thought they did a pretty good job with that. When you come inside, ooh, there's a digital code. If anyone wants to screenshot that, I don't know if it works anymore or not, but that's a digital code. Somebody can grab that. If you can get it, you got it. If not, I'll throw the giveaway. But like the individual disc design on here, so it's decent. It's better on the interior design than actually on the exterior, in my opinion. Ryan Coogler's latest film, Sinners. You guys should really check that out. My wife's favorite film, got the 4K Blu-ray pre-ordered. I don't like this steelbook, and they're reusing it. I really don't. The interior is better. I like that kind of yearbook, kind of collage-looking thing that they did on the inside. That's pretty nice, but I don't know. Maybe people who like the movie more than me will like this more, but seems cheap. This one's kind of cool. But again, I just think it's too busy for me. The Last Jedi. This will cause people don't love The Last Jedi. Mandy, this movie was really good the first time I saw it. The second time, I didn't love it as much. I might actually eventually get rid of this steelbook, but we'll have to wait and see it because I might give it one more watch. Oh, disc was loose inside. That's never fun. And I have a free trial. Awesome. Yeah, that's always nice. This one, I used to love this steelbook for Memento on Blu-ray, but now I don't know. I don't like the blue on top. If that was removed, I would like it a little bit more, but I guess, it's a Blu-ray. Captain Marvel. I like Captain Marvel more than other people, but I also, the steelbook doesn't scream like premium to me. I don't know. Don't really love it. The disc design, though, I do want to point out is really nice. And the last in this pile is the latest. What is this one actually? The latest Doctor Strange movie. This one was all right. I actually haven't watched this 4K Steelbook since I got it because this was an early review he did on the channel, and Matt did the review. But he actually got two Steelbooks, one for me and one for him. And since he was giving it to me, why not? But this is just so plain. You can see why I wouldn't love that one, right? And what did Aaron say? Digital code giveaway. We're doing that in the video, so make sure you hang on for that. That's going to be coming a little bit later. And here's X-Men Apocalypse actually right now, and you can see what I mean. Let's see if I have Black Panther anywhere around here. But anyway, look at it. It's very similar design. The only reason I gave this one the edge over Black Panther is this kind of hard to tell, but there's like an indent frame around here. Pretty cool. Pretty nifty, and I also like the bleeding of this. This kind of comes out a little bit, but I don't just like this. Just again, it's just like, oh, here's another digital code. If anyone can see this, you guys are getting lucky. This is how often I go through these movies. You watch them once, but this is actually pretty cool interior. So maybe I was being a little hard on X-Men Apocalypse. I don't know. Maybe it's just the film. Although I remember people hating on the film. The film's okay. It's okay. Here's another silver. You can just see I don't like silver as a base. Edge of Tomorrow. Very underrated movie. Live, Die, Repeat, whatever you guys want to call it. Come inside. These are just plain black. This is probably WB. It is WB. WB and Paramount. You can always tell from the plain Jane discs. They just put no effort into that. But they put very little effort into the Steelbook. One of the most underrated Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt films, though. Here's one that deserved a little bit more love on the Steelbook, but I love the movie Gattaca. But are they still married? They might be divorced now. I'm not entirely sure, but this is Uma Thurman, Ethan Hawke star in this movie. I'm assuming this is where they met. And it's surprisingly, I love the movie Gattaca, but I always find it so funny when you watch the movie. Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman, I felt like have no chemistry, and then they end up getting married in real life. Dune Part 2. I think it deserved more. This might have actually gotten a different Steelbook already, but I don't know. I didn't love this 4K Steelbook. Come inside. I do like the discs. These are the colors though, so I guess it makes sense overall. I'm not a big fan of it. And here's one. I might actually should have probably put this lower because I don't love this one either. It's also got a dent on it that kind of bothers me. But the Beetlejuice 4K. And even though this is Warner Brothers, they did actually do a little bit individual disc design, so it's fine. But I just don't love this one. I would have actually liked. I don't love this design of Beetlejuice. I would have liked something more in his regular standard Beetlejuice stuff. Maybe go with black and white like a suit. Just thought there were other ways to go. And here's another Tim Burton film. This one's just kind of plain as well. Maybe a little bit too busy. I do like the matte finishing on it over the glossy. I don't know. The camera's picking it up pretty well. But yeah, I just would have liked that a little bit more. I don't really love the entire design. Although this design is cool. I like that you open it up. It's dark on the outside, pretty in the inside. That beautiful Florida look that they were going for with that movie. And here we are with another star. This was which one was this one? Far From Home. This was the sequel, the second one of the last trilogy of Spider-Man movies. You guys know I'm not the world's biggest Spider-Man film fan. I like actually the animated films, the Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse movies. I think those are some of the best Spider-Man films. These ones have been pretty good. I got some of the 4K Steelbooks, as you guys will see. This one's got, I'm not the biggest fan of the busyness, but this one I do actually kind of like, and I think that they put some good artwork in. You come inside. The disc design is great. The more recent trilogy are they're good, but again, I'm not the biggest fan. Here's one that I think you guys will know: The Naked Gun. I love this movie. Leslie Nielsen. What do you guys think of the new one coming out using the same exact kind of artwork with Liam Nielsen now, which is just so funny. The end of that trailer is hysterical with the OJ character. His son. But I just thought the Steelbook was really fun. The 4K Blu-ray is pretty good. You can grab this in the Zaz collection with Airplane, which I don't know. Not a fan of how they treated Airplane, if I'm being honest with you guys. Next up, Tenet. This is actually a pretty good 4K Steelbook. I like this one. Come inside. 3 discs. Is it 3 discs? Wow. 3 disc set. I haven't watched this one in a while. Tenet, that's one of those movies that I feel like I had the opposite effect of a lot of people. I was blown away the first time I saw it, but on each repeat viewing, it kind of goes down a little bit. Thor Ragnarok, I actually really like the colors on this, and this font's a little bit lifted, so I thought this was a very good 4K Steelbook. And if people haven't realized yet, you guys are getting lucky if people are grabbing these codes. I should go through these, right? I could have more codes for the giveaway. But anyway, there you go. I think Thor Ragnarok is still the best MCU movie. Perfect balance of action and comedy. Here's one. This is like Sony forcing a steelbook on you, but it's a beautiful looking 4K Blu-ray. La Femme Nikita. I'm a huge fan of this movie. This one got the 4K Blu-ray release, I want to say at the beginning of last year. Very good 4K Blu-ray. Never looked better. One disc set. I recommend it. Here's a good one. I only kept this for the 4K Blu-ray, and that was The Force Awakens because I've upgraded this to regular 4K Blu-ray. This is actually a Blu-ray steelbook, but I wanted to hold on to it because I'm a big fan of The Force Awakens. I know that the rest of the trilogy isn't great, and I agree, but I still think that The Force Awakens is one of the better Star Wars movies in a bubble. Just forget everything that came after it, not including Rogue One, because Rogue One's great as well. Wayne's World, party time, excellent. Kino Lorber is going to be releasing Wayne's World 2 on 4K Blu-ray at the end of this month. I am very excited. Actually, at the end of May, because the end of this month is April and tomorrow's the last day, but at the end of May, and I'm looking forward to that. Would have liked the 4K Steelbook to go along with this 4K Steelbook. Matilda, another Sony 4K Blu-ray. This is just hugely nostalgic for me. I grew up with Matilda, grew up with this movie. It's got a Netflix show. You come on the inside. This is also a very good 4K Blu-ray. And, you know, the colors kind of scream Matilda. Look, everything right over here. It's all makes sense if you're a fan of the movie, which is always what the best 4K Blu-rays do. Well, 4K Steelbooks do. Next up, same thing. If you know Gremlins, you know why I like the Steelbook is actually better than the 4K Blu-ray itself. But I had to have this when I saw it. I love the colors. You know, don't feed it, don't get it wet. Everything, you know, don't let bright light. It hates bright lights. I too hate bright lights. Dr. Sleep, the most unlikely good follow-up to who would have ever guessed it? The Shining, directed by Mike Flanagan, one of the better horror directors. I think he's up there in the top 3 horror directors working today. And he can, you know, because he combines dramatics with it. I think he does great drama horror films, better than everyone. You know, he doesn't have like the most shocking visuals, but he'll get under your skin. And then last in this pile is Angel Heart, which is one of those Lionsgate 4K Steelbooks. Also, Angel Heart, really good Mickey Rourke film. That's going to be really fun to put these away. All right, let's see what Mr. Smelly Potato said before we get on to the next pile. And I want to thank all you guys who are in here right now. Appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for joining me on the live Q&A show. I have Wayne's World Steelbook and slipcover version because I like their art on both. I have Wayne's World 2 pre-orders. I'm excited to get it. That's coming out the same day as Kingpin. I got them both pre-ordered too, just because, you know, 90s comedies. Really excited for that. Can't wait to get Wayne's World. And I agree with you. The slipcover, I remember it. It had like the light blue font, right? And it kind of was them jumping. And it was like kind of like very flashy for Wayne's World, the 4K Blu-ray slipcover. I don't blame you. And Wayne's World's an all-time comedy classic. If I can convince my wife, I might watch Wayne's World today because it's really one of those special comedies of the 90s. Mike Myers was killing it, man. Between SNL, that, and Austin Powers in the 1990s, he gave Jim Carrey a run for the money in the 90s, but Jim Carrey was still number one for me. All right, let's move on to the next pile. This one is Twister, one of the 4K Steelbooks. I was like, I'm going to go with this. I think I like the Steelbook more than I like the standard edition. And I do. I like the colors on it. And if you guys ever saw Mid-Level Media's review on Twister, you know, he's not right about the green look on it. And the Steelbook leaned right into it. Panic Room on 4K Blu-ray. A lot of people didn't like the 4K for this. I thought it was actually a little bit underrated. I think a little people were a little too harsh on it, especially if you know how this movie was made. Come inside, but I think the Steelbook is gorgeous. I like the disc design. A little hard to read on it. Actually looks better here than actually in person. You can actually read a little bit better because of the lighting in the room right now. But I actually think this 4K Steelbook, mainly because of this, is very nice. And now, you know, this was really cool at the time, but now we've gotten there's been 4 of them. But my John Wick 1 and 2 4K Steelbook bothers me. The 3 and 4 aren't Steelbooks, but, you know, I like everything to be uniform. You'll notice a disc missing. That's because I was sold the Blu-ray disc. When I mean sold, I gave it to my sister-in-law so she could watch it because they at the time hadn't seen John Wick 1 and 2. But this is I got this. What is this now? Like 7 years old. This came out before John Wick 3 even came out, so I'm not even entirely sure. But John Wick 1 and 2 on 4K Steelbook, I love the art design on it. John Wick might even hold the record for the most different Steelbooks that have been released by. I feel like there's a new 4K Steelbook out for the entire franchise every single year. Next up, really where the MCU should have ended, in my opinion. I know that might be controversial to say, but we had a movie hit the highs of Avengers Endgame. This was the perfect finale for the entire thing. And, we're coming into May, right? 2019. This was the highest grossing film at the time. It probably will end up being it again. But this 4K Steelbook is phenomenal, in my opinion. And when you come inside, wow, there's a digital code. Oh, no, it's not a digital. Oh, no, it is. Yeah, look at that. Real quick, if you guys want. If not, they're going in the giveaway file. If you got it, let me know in the comments. But yeah, here you go. Look at that. Beautiful disc design, too. And yeah, that's a beautiful looking steelbook, in my opinion. I just wish that Disney's 4K Blu-rays, especially at the time, matched up to the quality of those steelbooks, but it never did. I know Rogue One's in the chat, and this might still be his favorite 4K Blu-ray or favorite film of all time, but I thought this had a beautiful 4K Blu-ray as well. I don't know if you can see the glossiness like a guitar. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. This one also has a really nice individual disc design for the 4K, not the Blu-ray, but this is a beautiful 4K steelbook. I remember this was one that I actually pre-ordered because I love the color design. Yeah, I mean, look at it, the pink and the yellow. That's like the colors of the channel, too. I'm just a big fan of that. Everyone has their favorite colorway. Here's one where I upgraded the 4K Blu-ray, and one of the rare instances where I didn't get rid of the Blu-ray because I actually love the steelbook design. The steelbook design for Chinatown. This is it's simple, but I like simplicity. You'll see as we go on. The inside, though, looking at it now, I'm like, maybe I put this a little bit too high. It's nothing, but I love the cover. The cover really does a lot of the heavy lifting for me. I like to pull this one off and look at the cover. I must Wreck-It Ralph. The first Wreck-It Ralph, I think, is much, much better than the sequel, and I love this 4K steelbook. I mean, it's a coin. It's a game machine. It's great. What more can you do for that? Oh, man, I really never went through these, huh? If you guys saw that, I'm probably just going to add those to the giveaway if people want them. But, yeah, the interior is great as well. And this is another Disney 4K steelbook, The Incredibles 2. The Incredibles 2, like, this is a locker. Like, this is indented. It's really probably hard to tell from the camera, but this is indented into it. The laundry on the back, inside. 3D. Like, Disney really does do some phenomenal work on their 4K steelbooks. Again, the disc quality in comparison doesn't match up. And the disc is more important than anything. Next up, I got The Town. This was like out of print, the regular 4K Blu-ray for a while. So when they announced the steelbook coming back in the print, I was like, I had to grab it right away. The Town is Ben Affleck's best film that he ever directed. Maybe not the best film he ever starred in, but I think The Town is one of the greatest heist movies of all time, right behind, in my opinion, Heat. It clearly was inspired by Heat, so you get why it would work. But as far as heist movies go, and then having nuance in the characters, it's not just your straightforward heist movie. Like, these characters are fleshed out in the best way possible. It's shot beautifully. One of the best Boston movies of all time, and the 4K Blu-ray is just great. Here's one that we got a review here on the channel, Tombstone. This is a very good 4K Blu-ray. When I first saw the cover, it was a little too busy for me, but it really grew on me as time has gone on, which is like a week. But I like the interior too, especially since it was forced on me. At least it's nice looking. Let's see. Somebody just popped into the chat. Hi, John. Let's see who it was. Hey, Mellow Fellow. What's up, buddy? I was actually going to message you today because I have to ask you a question, which we'll talk about. And next up, I got Clerks 3. This is one of those Lionsgate 4K steelbooks. I loved Clerks 3. I know not everybody loves it. It's much more of an emotional movie, but if you're a big Kevin Smith fan, this movie was very important to him. I saw this at he takes his movies on the road, and I saw this in the city, New York City, like with him with a Q&A. It was a special experience for me. And then the 4K Blu-ray is really nice. I love, again, the purple and the yellow. I hopefully, like, all his movies get this kind of treatment. Dogma's coming back, which is my favorite of his. Is coming back in the theaters on June 25th. Very looking forward to that. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, one of the better Quentin Tarantino movies. Definitely in his top 5. And this got a really nice 4K steelbook, in my opinion. Love that this looks like a real film, just leading into what Quentin Tarantino is. I mean, and what Hollywood is at the time, especially. It's a love letter to Hollywood. Let's see. I too loved it. It broke me. Yeah, it will do that. That's for sure. Here's one that just looking at it again. I've been in the mood to rewatch this, Rebel Without a Cause. This came out on 4K Blu-ray, celebrating Warner Brothers 100th year that year. So they were doing a lot of their classics. We'll talk about another one in a little while, but I really had to have Cool Hand Luke. Well, that just gave away which one's going to be higher. But Rebel Without a Cause, I love the movie. It's one of the Warner Brothers again showcasing that they're one of the better studios when it comes to 4K Blu-ray upgrades. And this is one of their special releases. I mean, this just looks like something out of the 1950s. It's iconic. I love it. It's throwback to classic cinema. Okay, let's see what else is going on in the chat. Good morning, everybody, and John. How we doing today? Good morning, Thomas Anderson. Hope you're doing well. Everything is going pretty well over here. Once upon a time in Hollywood gave me strong Brian De Palma vibes. Yeah, I can see that, especially if you're thinking of like a body double, especially, which is funny because I thought that Maxine from last year took a lot from Body Double, and I think that people kind of missed that when they were watching Maxine, the body double aspect of it all, paying homage to like directors of that time. And I mean, I don't understand what's going on in Maxine and the entire trilogy of movies not getting the Ty West trilogy, not getting 4K Blu-ray releases. But for some reason, it hasn't happened yet. Next up, A Clockwork Orange. That's what sold me on the 4K Steelbook. And the 4K Blu-ray is not the most beloved one. I'm going to re-review it. Actually, I've never reviewed it here on the channel. I'm going to review it here on the channel at some point. But this is one of, obviously, Stanley Kubrick's best films. Toughest watches of his, entire catalog. But the 4K Steelbook was one I had to have. Next up, and these are both, you can go back to back. I didn't know really where to go with these, but Kubo and the Two Strings, and of course Coraline, which is one of the more popular of these films. I don't know. I think Coraline is one of the best animated films of all time. Beautiful stop motion animation. When you come inside, great individual disc design on the interiors. Like I said. And then the last from this pile, Army of Darkness. Now, this is a 4K Steelbook from Scream Factory, and my Evil Dead collection is just like all over the place, but Army of Darkness is one of the better ones. 1992, I believe. I really like the artwork on this. Come inside, beautiful individual disc design as well, which is something I keep bringing up, but it's something I appreciate. It's a little thing, but I actually do come and look at the disc design, and I'll appreciate it, and the interior artwork as well. Well, X and Pro are released on 4K digital and internationally only, unfortunately. Yeah. And what makes that frustrating is why not here in the United States at all or in the UK? I think the international releases were only through Turbine, or it was a German company, and I don't get it. Like, there was these rumors that once Maxine came out, A24 was going to do their own trilogy release, and hasn't happened yet. And I was thinking, oh, well, maybe some time needs to pass. But then The Brutalist got a 4K Blu-ray release right away. So Queer came out last year as well after Maxine. That's getting an A24 4K Blu-ray release as well. So I personally don't understand. I want to buy them on 4K Blu-ray because Pearl is still my favorite of the entire trilogy, but I think the entire trilogy of movies are great. So where would this is where I'm going to slot in these three 4K Blu-rays. And in my actual Dirty Harry review, I said it was kind of weird that Dirty Harry, which is directed by Don Siegel, is included in this entire trilogy of 4K Blu-rays when, these two, Pale Rider and The Outlaw Josie Wells, are directed by and starring Clint Eastwood. I was like, I get that Clint Eastwood stars in Dirty Harry, but these two Westerns, it's a little bit of a strange decision. But then when you watch the 4K Blu-rays and you check out the extras, it's kind of like telling a story of like Clint Eastwood's entire career with the amount of documentaries that are on here. But if I was these are where these 4K Blu-rays are gonna get slotted in these steelbooks, because I do think they're all really nice. I would say that the worst of the three is Pale Rider, and then next up would be The Outlaw Josie Wells. And I personally love the Dirty Harry steelbook design. I love the colors of it. You come on the inside, all this stuff is just beautiful to me. I think it looks incredible. I just wish they would have done some individual disc design, but that's where I would slot these in. We're coming down the home stretch. I only have one pile of steelbooks left. Those reviews, by the way, like I said, will be coming pretty damn soon. Tom's a Rebel Without a Cause, a classic, fine overall. Mostly got up for the day. Yeah, I think that one's a really good one. Well, Max and Pro, so yeah, we just talked about that. And next up, my all-time favorite movie on 4K Steelbook, which has grown on me. I was not initially too excited for this because it doesn't scream Terminator, and it still doesn't scream Terminator, but the artwork is pretty nice. I like the finishes around the flames on the neck and everything. Like that stuff, okay. I'll forgive it a little bit. One disc set, but you know what? They actually did do some individual disc design. There's Arnie. The interior works for me better than the exterior actually does. Another Lionsgate 4K Steelbook, The Mist. I think this one works great. Also, this is a phenomenal 4K Blu-ray if you guys haven't seen this in general. You can watch it in black and white, in color. The disc design, too, like looking like meats because the movie takes place at a supermarket. Just genius stuff. What can I say? I mean, they really did a great job on this release. Like everyone you're going to see right now, these are the coup de grace of 4K Blu-ray Steelbooks, in my opinion. The Mist is up there again, a phenomenal release where you can watch this in 4K Blu-ray in color and in black and white. I think it works better. I think it works great in both ways. They're both designed to just be beautiful. And next one, another Lionsgate 4K Steelbook, Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is one of the best satirical horror films that you'll ever see. And this design in general, it's still kind of hard to see, but it's really leaning into if you've seen the movie or not. And I think that's always the best 4K Steelbook designs is when you can do something like that. And now these they fell. These three are a tie. Toy Story 3, Toy Story 2, and Toy Story 1 right there. But my favorite of the trilogy is Toy Story 2, but all these having their individual colors. I wanted 4 to like match up with this, and I would have grabbed it maybe because I do like how these look on your shelves, really leading into the colors of Toy Story. Next up, Speed. I love this design. It's a little busy, but I still really like it. You come on the back, there's the bus, with, of course, them, and then the interior. The interior is amazing. I love this. Jack! I mean, Speed's one of the best 1990s action movies that you'll ever see. Dennis Hopper is a great villain. She is phenomenal as well. Sandra Bullock. I mean, she kind of Demolition Man before this, the year before this, actually. But, I mean, this is the one that really put her on the map as a star. Right here, we got Cool Hand Luke, like I was saying earlier. I actually like these colors. I mean, people might be like, it looks a little bit too modern, especially if you like compare it to like Rebel Without a Cause, which is leaning into the 1950s look. I get that, but I also really love the look of this 4K Blu-ray. If you guys, my 4K Blu-ray review of this, actually, I still stand by everything I said, and like the look of this, I thought it was a great looking 4K. Here's Lionsgate Limited, or pretty recently released from them, King of New York. I like this. I really like how this looks with this slipcover, getting that look of the movie, like one of the scenes. The only thing I would have changed is probably the red. Red is not something I think of a King of New York, but that's a minor complaint. One of my all-time favorite films. This is actually getting a Vice re-release with a new 4K Steelbook, but I like the initial 4K Steelbook for Poltergeist. My favorite horror film of all time, or my second favorite, depending on which day you catch me. It could be Candyman or it could be Poltergeist, but I think that this movie is a masterpiece. This would actually be my favorite Steven Spielberg film if it was an actual Steven Spielberg film, even though it's directed by Tobe Hooper and produced by Steven Spielberg. That's the rumor, at least, but you can watch me and David's podcast on actually what happened. Next up, another Vice print getting a re-release, but I love this original 4K Steelbook for The Shining. Love the maze and everything that it says here. No work, no play, Maze Jack. Oh, man. I love this 4K Steelbook. This is one. The only thing I can honestly say, like, even on the interior, I don't know how I feel about the interior compared to the exterior. They're very different, but, still leaning in on the maze. And another 4K from Lionsgate Limited. This is a thick bad boy, but not many films are worth it more than, of course, The Third Man. Oh, man, I love this 4K Blu-ray Steelbook. Great design as well. You get some reading material. Just perfect, in my opinion. This is exactly what you want from the Lionsgate Limited line when they're charging that amount of money. And here's one I hope the camera could pick up the colors of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This one's from Shout Factory. I love the design of this whole thing. You guys could see right there. You come inside. The interior design is great as well. The disc designs, pinks and purple. I love all of that. And here's one that I thought was going to be at number 2, but a couple slipped in, and that's Young Guns on 4K Steelbook. I actually forgot to mention this when I had my Westerns in my collection, which is growing by the day. But Young Guns, I love the gunshot right there to the 4K Steelbook. Then when you come inside, it's a beautiful looking 4K Steelbook on top of that, even though it's got the beautiful looking slipcover on the outside. Just phenomenal work here. As you would expect. I love it when they put the slipcovers over the sleeves, over the steel. And even though this is one of the worst 4K Blu-rays out there, I have the actual slipcover edition, and I also have the 4K Steelbook. This is one of the best looking 4K Steelbooks you'll ever see. When you slide it up, there it is, the exoskeleton under the real human skin. It works perfectly. I just wish the 4K Blu-ray was good, but the Steelbook is phenomenal. I had to have that as a big Terminator fan, big Terminator 2 fan. They did a great job on that. Again, just wish that 4K Blu-ray was good because I don't even watch it. And then this one of my favorite comedies of all time, Major League, made it to look like Serrano's locker. You come on the back, like this is a magnet. So cool. A bunch of magnets that you can keep. I just kept them on there because what the hell am I going to do with these? You know, it only makes sense if you like pull the movie out. And when you come inside, oh man, it's very bad to stand Jumbo's rum. Hopefully I said that right. The guy I work with could do it really well. Now, the top 2 4K Steelbooks of all time, Arnold Schwarzenegger's The Running Man. You get this beautiful slipcover over this beautiful Steelbook. I love that. And this is something I thought we would get more of because it's like an actual slipcover. So you get all the stats on the back. That's one thing you always lose when you have like a regular Steelbook. People like to have the stats of the 4K Blu-ray or the Blu-ray, depending on what they got. And I really love that the Running Man has that. The number 1 for me, Scream Factory or Shout Factory's release of Point Break, this 4K Steelbook, the look of it, the way that some stuff is glossy while other stuff isn't, the dead presidents on the the ex-presidents all over it. I think this is a phenomenal looking 4K Steelbook. Interior, everything about this, I had to put this at number 1. It's also a huge upgrade over the previously released Blu-ray, which is not very good. And that was all of my 4K Steelbooks, all of my Blu-ray Steelbooks, all the Steelbooks in my entire collection. Check out the chat. It's been a little while. So I just want to make sure that everyone we are caught up. Mellow Fellow said, I'm slowly building my 4K collection. I think I have 22 now. That's quite substantial amount for me. That is pretty big. I'm glad you're building it. I know you just fully upgraded your system to 4K Blu-ray, well, to 4K, so now you can watch everything. I think you'll learn to appreciate 4Ks as time goes on because like that HDR Dolby Vision can really do some work and really enhance a film and make it look better than you ever could have imagined. That's actually why I've collected 4K Blu-rays. I did a count pretty recently. I think I'm at just about 600 4K Blu-rays of my entire collection. Tombstone Blu-ray, nice. I saw that Dark Room Reviews. I saw you picked up Young Frankenstein and Tombstone on Blu-ray yesterday. That's awesome. Both of them are classic films. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Dark Room Reviews, by the way. Edward Scissorhands, the most beautiful steelbook I've seen / own. I do still keep the disc in my custom sleeve regardless. Of course, you have to, especially since that's your artwork and you make it and you do great work, buddy. Austin Power desperately needs a 4K. I have Austin Powers on 4K, actually. Right here. Austin Powers on 4K Blu-ray. This is actually a pretty good 4K Blu-ray. It's a UK only release, so it actually has their cut of the film, which is different than our cut of the film, Dark Room Reviews, believe it or not. If you've never seen the UK cut, like I never had seen, or the international cut, or actually we're the only people that have a different cut, but it surprised the hell out of me. That's for sure. At Dark Room. Oh, so yeah, he just was responding. So I'm going to answer some more questions. If you guys want to jump in with some questions, feel free. Let's see. Timmy asked this one right here. Do you think going on the movies on a first date is a great idea? I do think it's a great idea. Me and my wife went on to the movies on our second date, and we went to see Just Go With It with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. I think I told you guys in the past, my wife is a huge Adam Sandler fan. So I was like, all right, that's a perfect second date. Just Go With It probably isn't the greatest movie in the world, but it worked out good for me and my wife. So we're married now and we've been together for 15 years. So I guess Just Go With It was pretty good for us then, wasn't it? So I always think that going on a first date to the movies is a great idea. I get to know how the person feels, and especially like most of you guys, I'm sure you're cinephiles, and you want to make sure that your partner at least can appreciate movies a little bit. If they say no to going to the movies, I don't know. At least my wife, like, she might not be the world's biggest movie fan, and she has to put up with all of this, but she at least is into movies. Like, seeing Sinners, we thinking about going back for a second time. That's only a movie fan, so thankfully, my wife at least can put up with that and go to the movies with me all the time. She saw the account. There's some movies like she gets mad like that I drag her to. I don't get it. She's not like a big art house fan, so when I took her to see Poor Things, I don't think she was like too thrilled with that. Had to do a lot of apologizing for that one because I don't think I warned her enough. But that's what happens. Yeah, that would be great. It should be released domestically so that everybody could get it. I don't know what happened. Especially with all the movies, the whole entire trilogy. Wait, has the European cut how is the European cut of Austin Powers different? So yeah, okay, I'll grab it right here. So when it comes to Austin Powers and its European cut, how is it different? So if you've seen the US version, there's a couple of scenes that are just added to the international cut that aren't in there. And it's revolving around like some of the employees of Dr. Evil's Empire, one of them played by Rob Lowe, and then the guy who gets run over in the movie, like when he's going, stop! And then that big Zamboni thing runs him over really slow. He died at work, so they call up like a restaurant. I think Rob Lowe answers, and he's talking to all of their buddies about how they died, about how their friend died at work. And that's one scene that's added. There's another scene where Austin Powers takes his glasses off and he's trying to like persuade the person to let him in. That's not in the US cut. And this is only the first time I've ever seen these scenes. Like they were deleted scenes, but I'm not a big deleted scenes kind of guy, so I've only probably seen them once or twice before, but actually see them edited in was very different. And people, and also the New Line Cinemas logo is in the US, they released it here, where in the UK there is nothing about the New Line Cinema anywhere over there. So that's a big difference between the two cuts for us. Sharon Stone says freckles are clearly visible on the new Total Recall trailer. That's on my Blu-ray upscaled. I never ever knew that she has freckles. Yeah, the Total Recall 4K Blu-ray is really, really, really good as well. Even the Blu-ray upgrade to the 4K. Yeah, she does that. That's one thing about 4K Blu-ray. When I was watching The Outlaw Josie Wells, and I forget what the Native American's name is towards the beginning, but they have a real close-up on his face, and you could just see every little indent on his face. Just absolutely incredible. That's the power of 4K Blu-ray. Is a Serbian film a good first date movie? Haunted Pillowcase? Absolutely not. A Serbian film is Uncle V still in the chat somewhere? Because I hope he is. He'll tell you it's a good first date movie, but a Serbian film is not a good movie to watch on a first date with anyone, unless you want to have the cops called on you, because he or she is going to think you're an absolute psychopath, and I'm going to think that. But because I saw that movie once, and I'll never see it again. The U.S. cut has several scenes removed. Exactly, that's the one big day. They have extra scenes that we don't have in the U.S. cut, and like I said, I personally don't think the international cut is better, but that's also because I've been watching the U.S. cut since 1997, and I only saw the international cut for the first time last year. So it's like seeing a movie like I've just never been like. Sometimes the director's cut can throw me off, and unfortunately, it's not even a director's cut. It's just the cut that other people have seen that we just never knew about. I don't know why they cut those scenes, but they did. Early morning physical media talk. Hell yeah, that's what we're doing. Cowabunga do. Aaron Click, any more news on Disney releasing Tron and Tron Legacy on 4K full away, or is it still just a pretty solid rumor? Well, I've heard that it's going to be coming. Like especially with the new Tron movie coming out, I don't see a scenario where like at least the first Tron doesn't get a 4K Blu-ray release. I'd be shocked if they both don't, though. Just because, like, look at what Disney's doing, though. They kind of hold stuff close to the vest until it's like a month out. Their last two announcements with like Tombstone and then Kingdom of Heaven, they don't announce it to like 5 weeks before it's going to be even coming to 4K Blu-ray. So I imagine it'll be probably the same thing with Tron and Tron Legacy, probably in the same price range. That's my best guess. I just think that we'll have it probably in the next couple of months, but I do think that's definitely coming out. Like Spawn, like I saw like people saying rumored. Arrow Video announced that they're making the 4K Blu-ray for that. We just don't know when it's coming out. And it was like a similar thing with Tron. Like it's known to be being worked on, so it'll be coming at some point. Just not a full hard fact of like when it's going to be coming. Do you think the cable guy will get a 4K? I hope so. With Ace Ventura coming to 4K Blu-ray, I think that this opened the doors up to us getting more like we've been getting a lot of comedies on 4K Blu-ray. I mean, Mouse Hunt is coming to 4K Blu-ray. That is a movie I never expected in a bagillion years to be coming to 4K Blu-ray. So they're really finally concentrating on comedies coming to 4K Blu-ray. Kino Lorber's at the head of this, but even like Shout Select, they have released Midnight Run on 4K Blu-ray before, which I think is a great release. Ace Ventura. So anything's on the cards. I hope the cable guy gets the 4K Blu-ray release. It's got a pretty big cult following. If you're deviant, it's a good first date. That is true. If you're into some things, my dad was Serbian, so when he heard about the film, he wanted to see it out of curiosity. Did you guys end up seeing that? Because I'm just very curious about how your dad would how your dad would react to that. Publisher, this film does not represent all Serbians. Yeah, I would hope not. I don't know how your dad would react to seeing something like that. I mean, the film in general, they're making a documentary about the making of that film, actually a Serbian film, and I guess what the director was going for was just like complete shock to make the most shocking film out there, which is an art form in itself. I understand that. I forget what the name of the film is. Somebody actually commented on it, but it's called A Hate Crime. And Kevin asked me to watch that for a director's review, I think either last year or the year before. And the film, it's designed to shock and scare you and make you as uncomfortable as possible. And that's the design. So, like, when the filmmaker gets the desired reaction, does that make it a good film or does that make it a bad film? It's the question you have to ask yourself, because what's the desired reaction? Like, sometimes that's it, but that's still part of the art form, even if you think it's absolutely insanity. Will Ferrell's worst movie, Holmes and Watson, has a completely different opening in the European version. Does it really? I hated that movie. Does it make it better, that different version? Because I'm very curious about that. I was stuck with Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves director's cut until the 4K came out. I prefer the theatrical cut of that one. So this is actually something that's pretty unique that people are talking about a lot, and with Road Trip coming to 4K. Usually we only get one cut on 4K. Now, during the Blu-ray era, look at Dumb and Dumber and Friday. These are good examples of movies that have the director's cut on Blu-ray, but the theatrical cuts are nowhere to be seen. You can't even watch them on there. So the last time that the theatrical cuts were released were on DVD. So if you want to watch the theatrical cut, unfortunately, of Dumb and Dumber or Friday on physical media, you have to go ahead and grab those DVDs. Now, with Ace Ventura, not now with Road Trip, you're getting the 4K version of it on theatrical cut, but you're not getting a 4K of the director's cut. So I don't understand. It's the same thing with Amadeus. Like, for a long time, the theatrical cut wasn't released on Blu-ray, and now the 4K only has the theatrical cut. Not sure why you can't just put both cuts on the disc. I'm not sure what the reasoning is. Apocalypse Now released a 6-disc set with 3 different cuts. Like, that's incredible. I'm not entirely sure why it can't be done. I'm not. Some people prefer, even if like 100 people prefer the director's cut, while everybody else agrees that the theatrical cut's the best version. Who cares? Those people like the director's cut. Give them it on 4K. I don't understand why that's so difficult. I fucking hate the Mallrats director's cut. I hate it with a burning passion. It's terrible. Kevin Smith knows it's terrible. He only released it because people had asked for him to release it, or else he said people wouldn't have seen this in the light of day. Arrow Video released that on 4K Blu-ray last year with the theatrical and the director's cut both in 4K Blu-ray. So for the 7 people out there who like Mallrats on 4K who like Mallrats director's cut, now you can watch that on 4K Blu-ray, and I'm happy for those people. They should be allowed to watch those movies on 4K Blu-ray because they like it. I don't understand why you would withhold that. Like, even if like Kingdom of Heaven, if there's some sick people out there who prefer the theatrical cut, cool, let them have that on 4K Blu-ray. I don't know why we have to like now pretend it doesn't exist. Give us that definitive edition with all the cuts of the movie on 4K Blu-ray so that everybody who likes it can get it. I don't think it's that hard. Maybe it is. I'm not somebody who works in the studios. I'm just sitting here behind a computer screen complaining about it. So who the hell knows? I just think that it would be really cool if like every edition of it got released so that everybody who likes different cuts of the movie can get it all on 4K Blu-ray. It's very strange when, like, I think it was like Silent Night, Deadly Night, or one of them that came out last year. They usually will give you the one cut on 4K, but then they'll give you the other cuts on Blu-ray. Oh, Army of Darkness is a good example of that. That has like the other 2 cuts in the movie are only on Blu-ray, while the 4K is the theatrical cut. I'm sure that people who like all the cuts of the movie would appreciate that. The TV cut, I understand. It's going to look terrible on 4K. There's no reason to upgrade that. But like, give us like the director's cut on 4K too, just for those fans of it. I just think it'd be nice to think of everybody in these scenarios. I love movies like Knocked Up, Role Models, 4-Year-Old Virgin, and Love You. Man, to get the 4K treatment, I would love that. I have one more question before we end the giveaway I want to talk about. That's about the 2000s. Are you going to answer my question of buying multiple copies of the same movie? Yes, I am, because I do. I have to just go through it and find it, but I have a few questions. Let's see. Here it is. Actually, found your question right there, which we'll get into in a second. I think it made it worse. Well, yeah, unfortunately, that also happens. My projector does upscale 1080p disc to 4K so well that I'm not feeling the need to rebuy what I already have. RoboCop is a beautiful image, upscaled, flawless in my eyes. So, funny point about this, because I was talking to somebody about upscaling pretty recently, because they had a comment on my Tombstone 4K review about me saying that the jump from the Blu-ray to the 4K wasn't like the world. Like, he said that it was a ginormous jump, or essentially like just saying that it was a big night and day difference. I didn't feel that way, and I think a big reason of that is depending on your 4K Blu-ray player. Because I have 3 4K Blu-ray players technically, or 4 if you count the Xbox One S. But I have a Series X, I have a Panasonic 820, and I have the Sony 800. And I feel like they all do different versions of upscale and they all play discs different. So I felt like the Panasonic 820 with the Tombstone Blu-ray, yeah, it was overly grainy and flat, but it did a good job upscaling the colors that when you did jump to 4K Blu-ray, it wasn't like the world's biggest jump visually, like say something like Predator or Point Break. I felt like it was just a pretty solid, noticeable jump, but I don't think it was a night and day jump. And upscaling can do that with things. Independence Day is a great example of an upscaled Blu-ray looking as good as a 4K Blu-ray. I have that Blu-ray and I have no desire to upgrade to the 4K Blu-ray. It's an early 4K, so those are not necessarily the best looking. They are already really good Blu-rays, essentially, but it looks like a 4K disc. It's a phenomenal upscaling. So sometimes you gotta like make and then there's times when a Blu-ray will look even better than a 4K. But if they're like right there, sometimes you don't need to upgrade or you just wait for a sale, save yourself some money. Um, let's see. Uh I didn't like Mallrats director cut. It messed with the flow of the movie, I thought, and I thought that the T2 and I like the T2 theatrical cut. So funny enough, when it comes to the T2 theatrical cut, I prefer the director's cut only because I watched that. Do you guys remember the Extreme DVD from the 2000s? It was one of the first Steelbooks that I remember. It was definitely the first Steelbook I ever had, and they hadn't quite perfected it. It was actually a steel sleeve. It was, I think the UK got a better version because I think Shamrock Balls, David, aka, uh, he has the better version of that like Extreme DVD over there in the UK, where we got like the cheaper edition. But I watched that, and it was the director's cut, and I just essentially watched the director's cut for 10 straight years to the point where that became my standard edition. So when the theatrical cut came to 4K, I hadn't seen it in so long that I forgot about the missing scenes not being in there. So even though like the one that's obvious that I think you should just cut anyways, the Michael Bean scene, it's unnecessary. But I do like the scene when they take the chip out of his head and how she's in between, like, should I smash it or not? I think that scene, while stupid, it a little bit like there's just a switch on there that can make him learn and one that doesn't. I'm like, it's really that simple. You think about it, it's pretty dumb. But I do think that that scene is important, and I would have liked that to still be in there, but it's not in the theatrical cut. So, sometimes you just get used to it. The theatrical cut is probably cleaner. I think actually James Cameron theatrical to director cuts are very different compared to a lot of like they're not necessary for the most part, except for The Abyss. The Abyss's director's cut, I think, is 10 times better than the actual theatrical cut. To recontextualize the film from being a more contained small film to a worldwide film. So I think that's the better version. But like Aliens and Terminator 2, I don't think they necessarily add nothing. I think it's just personal preference. Like, I don't like the Aliens director's cut. I don't think I like those extra scenes, but the Terminator 2 director's cut, I do like the extra scenes. So it's really just six in one hand, half dozen the other. Like, it really comes down to how do you feel about them more than anything. But again, give us those options. That's all I ask for. I think that's what most people would ask for. Yeah, the Tommy Boy 4K got praise and criticism. It was all over the place, depending on the reviewer. Yeah, me personally thought it was a mixed bag as far as Tommy Boy goes. I thought it deserved better. It just was not enough of an upgrade. Given the one good thing about that upgrade, I have to give them credit for at least from Paramount, is they dropped the price pretty fast. Like, I got it for I think $16 for a $16 slight visual upgrade compared to like Tombstone, which is like, yeah, a major visual upgrade. I guess that's fair. I just think that Tommy Boy deserves a little bit better than that. Many people probably won't really necessarily care, but I thought the Tommy Boy deserved a better 4K Blu-ray than what we got. Again, it's just like, I think people see like, what is the value of an upgrade? It's a visual upgrade. I just don't think it's the world's biggest visual upgrade. And again, we're keeping the same audio and extras, and that's all the stuff that really kind of bothers me to make it, worth your money. But $16 is $16. That's not bad at all. Road to Perdition, likewise, just gorgeous. Road to Perdition is a beautiful looking film in general. And one of the best winter movies you guys could ever watch. If you haven't seen Road to Perdition, try and save it for the winter. I think My Fair Lady was one of the most jaw-dropping 4K transfers I've ever seen. There's a chance. I mean, I've been thinking about. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but westerns like 50s and 60s and 70s films. I'm thinking those translate the best to 4K Blu-ray. I'm just noticing, however, they were filming them like North by Northwest and The Searchers last year. Some of the best looking 4K Blu-ray transfers that I've ever seen, and I'm just thinking that those types of films, whatever film stock, whatever they're coming out so beautiful right now. And but Barry Lyndon coming to 4K Blu-ray pretty soon. I think we could be in for another one. Hey, you're on. What's up, Frank? Glad you can make it in here, buddy. Yeah, just doing the Q&A show in the morning, doing a little flip-flop because this is supposed to be the Let's Talk morning show, and I was gonna do the Q&A show on Friday or try and move it more to a morning show as well, just because I have more energy in the morning. A lot of time when I do the Saturday afternoon Q&A show, I had just literally got done working and been up since 6 in the morning. So like right now, my day is kind of still in the early part of it, and I can jump on here, give you guys a little bit more energy. I'm not in a rush or anything. So it's always good. Like this show's going on for over an hour. We're just chit chatting. I'm just glad that everybody could make it in here. And of course they do because they're shot on film as opposed to digital. But like even but 80s and 90s films are shot on film as well, and I still feel like certain, like, I mean, they were using VistaVision and Technicolor throughout the 50s and 60s, and I just wonder if like that made the color so prominent. But you're watching movies for so long, your eyes can find film stock and know like the general area of like when it was coming out. Like when you see a movie from 1990, you're watching movies long enough, you know that movie's from 1990 just because of how the film stock was all the time. Like each like film, they label it, they code it, because a lot, like if you guys watch racing, I watch NASCAR, no tire is exactly the same. There might just be slight subtle differences, but if you're around it long enough, you start to notice those slight subtle differences. Did you go through your Steelbooks already? Yeah, I did that. I did that right at the beginning. Not right at the beginning, but like at the 30-minute, 20-minute to 50-minute mark. So if you rewatch, when you do the replay, Frank, you can watch all that back. But yeah, I already did that at the beginning. What are we already at? I actually got to do the digital code giveaway in a second, but I want to answer a couple other questions before we get into that. Like right here from Haunted Pillowcase. Do you think it's a waste to buy multiple copies of a movie? For example, I own 17 copies of Dark Knight just in case it gets scratched or disc rot, lost, etc. So I always have a way to watch. Now, I don't necessarily do this myself. I have, like I told you guys, I have multiple copies like Terminator 2 or Terminator. But me personally, I'm not the world's biggest like doubling up on things. But I do want to buy, and it's going to sound a little bit crazy, but I do want to buy like a spare TV, 4K player, wires, and everything, and just put it in my basement in storage, where no moisture or anything can get to it, just in case there's like an apocalypse or something, like crazy shit like that I wouldn't think would happen, like wouldn't really happen, but just in case, I can always watch my physical media if there's no internet or anything. Like I've thought about like things like that. Like I want to make sure I have a backup just in case I can watch all of my movies and everything like that. I mean, it might sound a little bit crazy, but it's just something I worry about happening. So I don't, 17 might be a little high for the Dark Knight. I don't think you'll run out, but I do know what you're saying, just in case. Like, right now you're not really thinking about it, but nobody probably thought about disc rot 25 years ago when they were picking up that DVD from Warner Brothers, but now that's becoming an issue. What's going to happen? We don't really know the ramifications of what we do until years down the line. Good example is always cell phones. We don't know about the long-term health effects of cell phones right now. I'm sure we'll find out in 20 years, though. That's just how the world works, unfortunately. You're guinea pigs to things. We'll find out if anything's a problem then. But I do want to buy some stuff because also things are built to fail, especially nowadays. Like there's a reason why a TV from 1987 will still turn on, but a TV from 2017 won't. Same thing with cars. He's already answered that. My bad. I am sorry, Frank. What time did you go on? It's 8 a.m. here. Oh, I went on at, yeah, well, you're all the way on the West Coast. It's 11 a.m. here. I went on at 10 a.m. here, so 7 a.m. your time. That's because I had to kind of be off by noon. Got some stuff to do in between. Then I'm recording with David in the afternoon. My day off of my regular job. Busy stuff going on, unfortunately. But it is what it is. But I like these morning shows. I like that I could jump in here and talk with you guys. So I want to just make sure I got to all the questions I haven't got to yet. Oh, Dangerous Psychopath asked this. What is your opinion of the movie Y2K? This is actually on HBO Max right now. Me and my wife watched that. We lived through Y2K. If people don't know, maybe you're younger than the year 2000. But in the year 2000, coming into it from 1999, there was this big Y2K phenomenon that they're calling it. Chris Jericho, if you're a fan of wrestling, Y2J, he played into that whole thing, the countdown to the millennium clock. But the belief was that when your computers, they weren't built up to have the year be 000. So once it hit 99, everything would fail and the world would end because of Y2K. So the movie was looking at it didn't happen, obviously. It was all just I wouldn't say a hoax, but it got blown out of proportion. They fixed it and whatever the hell else, nothing happened. But this movie's looking at what if it did happen? What if like the computers did take over? And it's a satire, very, very funny. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's not one I'll run back to all the time, but it's like a 7, 8 out of 10. Pretty good movie. Me and my wife had a good time watching it. We really enjoyed it. Had some I loved like the references to like the year 2000, late 90s stuff. The one villain being like the lawnmower man. So if you've ever seen those cheesy effects, I thought it was great. I really had a good time with it. It's not one that's like a masterpiece, but I think we've kind of lost sight of that too. To go to just a little mini rant, like not every movie needs to be a 10 out of 10, and not every movie is a 0 out of 10. You know, sometimes if you watch a movie and it's a 6 to 8 out of 10, and you watched it and you had a good time, but you're probably not going to rewatch it. What's wrong with that? It's fine. You had a good time watching a movie. There's been plenty of movies I've just gone to the theater, watched it once, thought, that was good, and that's it. You know, you don't really. That's fine. That's all part of being a cinephile. Is not every movie can be a 10 out of 10. If they all were, now we've just moved the needle down. Unfortunately, when a special movie comes along, we got to be able to recognize that it's a special film. In my opinion, at least, I think My Fair Lady was shot on 70 millimeter. That's like Lawrence of Arabia, and that can make a big difference. 65, 75 millimeter, vice versa. VistaVision, it says it really assists in making gorgeous picture quality. Yeah, that's why like the David Lean epics of the 50s and 60s that looks so phenomenal on 4K Blu-ray, like Lawrence of Arabia or Bridge on the River Kwai, because that was shot on big film at the time, which is considered like today, like when you shoot on IMAX, which is why we're all hoping that Sinners is going to be coming with the IMAX scenes. And supposedly it has. That's what the cinematography has said, that it will have the shifting aspect ratios. But when you go see a movie in like the big formats today, that's like VistaVision from back in the day, shooting on 65, 75, not 70, 65, 70 millimeter film. There's a reason why he goes 8 millimeter, 16 millimeter, 32. Like all these different kinds, 35 rather, all these different sizes of film all play a difference when we get transferred to 4K. That's why now with coming to 4K Blu-ray in the near future, 28 days later, that was shot with like horrible digital cameras. So a lot like how Collateral, I don't think is a good looking 4K Blu-ray because the cameras that were used for that film, I think we'll have that same thing. It's, we got to always address source material to say if a disc is good or bad. I mean, people need to understand that each film is not the same when it transfers to 4K Blu-ray. Some of the worst shots in Dirty Harry are, it's nothing wrong with the 4K Blu-ray disc. It's because the movie had one light source and they shot it in the dark and they wanted you to purposely not be able to see everything. You got to think of the intent sometimes. And I think people do lose sight of that. But say what you want about Tom Cruise, but I can't wait for the new Mission Impossible in IMAX. You're not going to get some negative stuff about Tom Cruise from me. That was always one of the knocks against the early days of the channel when it was just me and Matt, is that we would fanboy over Tom Cruise. Listen, personal life, Tom Cruise, take it out of there. We don't need to talk about it. But actor Tom Cruise is one of the GOATs, and obviously he's willing to give it all for cinema. And the Mission Impossible franchise is one of my favorite franchises. It's rising up there. I mean, every film in it is good. I'm going to do a Tom Cruise top 10 Tom Cruise on 4K Blu-ray sometime this month in honor of Mission Impossible coming out. I can't wait to watch that movie. I'm right there with you. Oh, dude, don't worry about that, mellow fella. No need to apologize for stopping a comment. I get that, man. I get that completely. Do you like the movie It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World? It's a nice Blu-ray, I think. I do like that movie. I heard that was getting a 4K Blu-ray. We're getting Sunset Boulevard at some time this year on 4K Blu-ray. I heard from Paramount Presents. I think that would open the door, I hope, to It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, of similar era of comedies. We'll have to wait and see. But like that movie, without that, we wouldn't get like Cannonball Run or Rat Race. So It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. I don't have the Blu-ray, but that's one a lot like I was talking to David. I don't have Commando on Blu-ray. It's just like you would think it would come to 4K Blu-ray at some point, that you don't want to spend money if you don't have to. And that's how I felt. Having tweaked my projection checks, Collateral now looks beautiful to me. And that's my most watched film. Collateral, I think is a phenomenal film. I haven't watched the 4K since I reviewed it a couple of years ago. Collateral always felt like a summer movie to me. I'm sure you guys all have like those distinct memories of when you were growing up and you had Like movies that you remember the trailers, you remember the hype machine. I think I talked to you guys about the hype machine behind Small Soldiers from back in the day and Godzilla in 98. And then I also remember just in 2004 when Collateral was coming out, how huge the marketing campaign was for that. Couldn't wait to see it in theaters. So I can remember all the hype around a movie, and it gets me just as excited now just thinking about it. We don't get that hype anymore. It's why I was so excited with Sinners and how everyone's like, we're in this like cinematic event moment again. It just doesn't happen like it used to. It used to be like all the time. You'd have a few movies come out each year where everybody, that's all they were talking about. There's just too many forms of entertainment now, unfortunately. Like there was just, when I was growing up, movies were like the centerpiece of it all. Like, movies and TV and wrestling and video games. Like that's what I was doing. And like video games, we didn't get online gaming until I was already like 15 years old. Like kids are born today with cell phones in their hands. Like that stuff, like I was already pretty much out of high school with. And that's why I think movies, like I was talking with somebody, you guys will find this interesting. I worked with like people age ranges everywhere. I work with people as low as 18 years old, and then there's a few people at my job who were like in their 60s and 70s. Like everyone's all over the place in age. And when I was telling people, like me and another person were telling like a young girl like 19 years old about how we used to just rewatch the same VHS over and over again, and that's how we learned to like quote these entire movies through and through and can recall the whole plot because you've seen them so many times. And that's just kind of all we had to do. You kind of lose that in today's world, unfortunately. People don't do that, don't have that rewatch factor like we had because they have so many options. I feel overwhelmed now, like I can't rewatch as much stuff because there's movies, there's TV, there's so much stuff. But back in the day, you were bored, you're just like, I'll watch Ace Ventura for the 800th time on VHS. Why the hell not? I'm gonna laugh again. So I'm gonna do it. Iron Click, I wonder if directors now are shooting a lot of their late 90s, early 2000 movies digitally, standard HD, since it was early tech. I think they do. Especially like look back at even just CGI effects at the time. They really, from the late 90s to the early 2000s, don't hold up and almost ruin a movie. Thankfully, somehow Revenge of the Sith still gets the praise that it deserves. I agree. But yeah, the CGI is not great in that. And in episode 1 especially, it looks horrible. Some of those war scenes. The core, I think the CGI ruins that movie completely because it's so bad. But I do think that they probably regret it at this point because, at the time, it was seen as the next logical big jump in film. It was going to save you money, not having to pay for film. What kills me is we shifted all the projectors to digitally. Like now people are so excited to go watch a movie in 70 millimeter IMAX. Everyone's talking about it. There's 17 theaters here in the US. AMC is supposedly going to be investing more money in it, but used to be able to watch every movie on film. Now it's a lost art, and that's crazy. That's like the best way to watch a movie, and you can't even do it anymore. And that it sucks because I would love to watch Sinners in 70 millimeter. I'm actually going to the city on Friday, New York City. I'll be right there where I could watch Sinners in 70 millimeter, but I can't because now Thunderbolts is going to be in the IMAX theater, and they're not going to have any 70 millimeter screenings of Sinners anymore here in New York, and that fucking sucks. And I just I'm preaching to the choir. I'm sure you guys live in areas where it's probably a drive for just a regular IMAX theater. I have an IMAX theater, it's just a digital one. But I don't want to complain. But man, I'm happy that people are getting excited to see things in film. But we used to have it where you could always go see a movie on film. So it's just the lost art of things. And hopefully people come back around on movies because, like a lot of you guys, I love it. It's my favorite thing in the whole entire world are movies. Iron Click also, and technically not as high res film. They went for convenience over quality. Yeah, that's what it is. When you shoot something, I was explaining this to my wife recently because she's watching the studio with me and like she's knowing all the film stuff because of being married to me, because this most recent episode of the studio, Seth Rogen's around a bunch of people who aren't into movies, and they're basically shitting on movies. I'm like, Faith, this is me in my everyday daily life. Like when I go to my regular Joe job, nobody cares about movies like I care about movies. So when I'm there talking, I'm like, he's like talking to Ari Aster, he's pretty awesome actually, and like they're all just blowing him off. And that's like me in my regular job. I'll be like, well, this guy's actually pretty damn good. He's like, this movie was phenomenal. I'm explaining Sinners. They don't care. Like, oh, it's not a vampire movie. I'm like, well, there's more to it than just vampires. It's got a message in there. They shot this movie on IMAX 70 millimeter, and they couldn't give a shit. And so I kind of understand that. But I was explaining to my wife about when you shoot digitally, you can just keep going, take after take after take. Just charge that battery. When you shoot on film, you only have so much film. You got to pay for the film. Then you got to wait for the dailies. And if things went wrong the day before, now you got to reshoot it, relight it. Maybe any little thing can throw off the entire thing. And now you just wasted that film. It's got to go in the garbage. Whereas when you shoot something digitally and move it to the trash and it's gone. exactly what you said, Aaron. They went for convenience over quality. I couldn't agree. Yeah, my nearest IMAX theater is about 40 minutes away, luckily. And that's still, it's too far. That is a far drive, 40 minutes. People don't really think about it. You're going to go see a 3-hour movie in IMAX. If you're going to AMC, that's a 3.5-hour movie with the fucking previews. So it does actually start to wear you down a little bit. And that's frustrating. I really do think that you got to make it more accessible, but people also have to go. I tried to spread the word about movies, but it's a different world out there, guys. We're definitely in the minority, and I've noticed it more and more and more. And I hope like things like Sinners, that's the stuff that's going to get people talking, but also re-releases. Just now in theaters, right at this moment, Revenge of the Sith made $25 million at the box office on a re-release. That means people want to go see old movies again. Jaws is getting a re-release this year. TMNT is getting a re-release this year. Get people excited about when movies, in my opinion, were really, really good. My mom says to me, as long as I can follow the story, I don't give a shit. And that's the thought process of most people. Like when I saw Sinners with my wife, she loved it, but for the plot and the story. And I'm over there nerding out over the shot towards the end of this is not really spoiled, but there's a shot towards the end of Michael B. Jordan firing into the camera. It's like a classic gangster film shot. You've seen it a million times in plenty of movies. And I'm over there nerding out, hitting, oh, look at the shot they're doing. She doesn't care, but I'm over there, the film fan in me, eating this up like a kid eating popcorn. I'm over here dying over this, but she doesn't care. She doesn't care. I'm listening to the score in the car, for all week, because I feel like I'm a part of something. And it's hard to get that kind of feeling of connection. I meant not to be far away, but yeah, it's a long movie. You're right. It's up and it makes for a long day. Yeah, you got to set that whole day aside. 40 minutes, that's an hour and 20 minutes of driving that you have to do. Then you got to see the movie. Depending on what you have to do, it's hard to even set aside 3 hours for everybody in their regular days. So I totally get that. Now that we're at the hour and a half mark, though, I'm just going to handle a little bit of business. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to add. I'm going to do the digital code giveaway, or as I like to call it, the digital code giveaway. In every single video that we do here on Friday, it's going to be Tuesdays now. So it's a new thing, actually. So I'm going to ask you guys questions in a group community thing on Friday, and then we're going to do a Tuesday, whatever the live video is. I'll put your name on a magic wheel. We'll spin that bad boy twice. The two names it ends on, they have their choice of the digital codes that I'm going to explain to you guys, because there's a bunch of new digital codes I've gotten in the last couple days, and I haven't been able to make cards for them yet. So we're going to get into that as well. I saw Revenge of the Sith the other day. I'm watching Happy Gilmore tonight at AMC. I'm so excited to see. Isn't that awesome, though? You get to go see Happy Gilmore on the big screen. It's just one of those special things, seeing a movie you never saw on the big screen, finally getting to go and see it. So that's awesome for you. Share screen. So let's see. Go to the Wheel of Names. Open it up. So there's the Wheel of Names, guys. You guys can see it. I assume we'll make this full screen. And now we'll just spin it, and the two names it lands on. I'm assuming you guys can hear that. Fine. Taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of people like this. Gotta think. All right, long-time supporter Shane Stock. And I kept the names on here from last week because I don't know how many people were here. They were doing the digital code giveaway, so because I'm a couple weeks to draw in here. Snowy days, Cat Daddy party, answer every week. I don't believe anything about that. Well, but eventually we'll shift it to everyone who comments on the post. But hey. All right, so hopefully you guys all saw that. We'll remove that now. So congratulations to Shane, and congratulations to who was the other one? I just won. I already forgot. To Shane and Go Dodgers. Even though I'm a Met fan, congratulations to you guys. Reach out to me at letstalkentmt@gmail.com. I'm also going to see Happy Gilmore tonight. Oh, see, that's awesome. You guys are all going to see it. My jam. The song's pretty good, right, Aaron? But to give you guys an update on the 4K codes that I have, I have now Dirty Harry, The Outlaw Josie Wells, and I also have Pale Rider. But I also got some codes that were donated pretty recently. I just want to tell you guys, as far as new codes go, I'm just going to be shouting these out, but you guys can email me. Got Deadpool 1 and 2. I got A Quiet Place Part 2, Companion, Jurassic Park, not Companion, excuse me, don't ignore me on that. And Den of Thieves 2. So we got some, those are like donations from Rogue One. I had one yesterday too that got donated from Jose. Want to make sure. I think that was a Full Metal Jacket. I also have Star Wars: A New Hope from Emmanuel. So we gotten some pretty good amount of new digital codes in here, guys. So if you are a winner, those are the codes to keep an eye on. Yeah, right here. I sent that one over. So we got some digital codes. Yeah, I got Full Metal Jacket. That's another new one. The 3 codes that I just got. So there's plenty of digital codes in there if you guys want to reach out. As far as the digital code giveaway goes. And as far as this week's questions of the week, obviously Kevin Kruger will be one of those questions of the week with his question about the 4K Steelbooks. Mr. Smelly Potatoes question I loved as well. And I also love the question about how many owning too much. So Haunted Pillowcase, Mr. Smelly Potato, and Kevin Kruger. Those are your nominees for the question of the week. But we can keep going for a little while longer. I'm not in a rush right now. I got like 10 or 15 more minutes. I can talk to you guys a little bit. Just chat a little while, see if I got any more questions in here. I'm sure I got more I can do for you guys. Already did that one though. Let's see what else. If all your favorite scenes in Scarface compared against all your favorite scenes in Back to the Future, which movie you say is the most fascinating standing left after the competition? Personally, I still think that Back to the Future will overall have the better scenes. Scarface is obviously a masterpiece of cinema, but I still think that Scarface overall is some of the best in Brian De Palma's entire career. The ending alone, it just makes it stand out. But Back to the Future, though, come on, it's Back to the Future. That movie's every scene's a classic in that movie from opening to ending. One of the best 80s films you'll ever see. Not that saying that Scarface isn't, because I absolutely love Scarface. I don't think Scarface is De Palma's best film. I still think Blowout is, which has a great Criterion 4K Blu-ray. If you guys haven't seen that, I would highly recommend it. Frank's here. Just had one of my favorite movie theater experiences. My daughter Ellie saw Revenge of the Sith for the first time, and to see her initial reaction of Anakin being Darth Vader was priceless. Oh my god, that's awesome. She didn't even know that. That had to be one of the greatest movie theater, especially as a dad, Frank. That's awesome. I'm actually very happy that you got to do that. That's one thing that I miss out on being a father, are those like little moments like that, because you could just never truly, like, I wonder what would happen if you showed your daughter like Empire Strikes Back, if she's like not knowing about that going into it, like filming it like you see online sometimes. That would be crazy. But that's so awesome. You get to share that with your daughters. That's just an incredible experience. Something that I got to be honest, I'm a little bit jealous of. Aaron Click said, I'm excited about the new Jurassic Park transfer on the upcoming Steelbook collection. I had held out on purchasing it in hopes that they'd rework the transfer. So I have that the old 4K Blu-rays, and I'm having a real bad case of FOMO about grabbing those 4K Steelbooks. And like, I'm not even lying. Last night I had the phone in my hand, was about to hit pre-order. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't justify it just because June is already so expensive. But I already have so many movies coming in June. I already have like 12 discs in June coming. And I got stuff at the end of May too, because Kingdom of Heaven, Kingpin, at Wayne's World 2 come out the same week. Like, that stuff's going to transfer over to June as well. And, you got all of the Man with No Name trilogy. I'm like, can I afford this? Especially if I only want Jurassic Park, but I really want Jurassic Park with that new Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos upgrade. Even though, like I said earlier in this pod, I don't really care about The Lost World, but Jurassic Park 3 is good. So at least that's there, but none of them compare to the original. I would love to see the original with those. I'm hoping, like, and it'll probably happen because money's money, but sometime down the line where they'll release them individually with beautiful new 4K Steelbooks. And then maybe I'm simple. Like, I just want the original Jurassic Park, like how it used to look on VHS, that flat black with the Jurassic Park logo on it. That's all I could ever want. And that's hopefully one day we get that, but we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Got it. That one I was doing. Oh, so one thing I made a list. I don't have a card for it, but I made a list of what I think the top 10 2000s films were. This is from my buddy Tim, who's mostly my 80s guy, but he asked because he said that he felt like some of the best comedies came out from 2000 and beyond. I think that the best comedies came out in the 90s, in my personal opinion, but that's also when my brand of comedy was starting to get molded into what it is today. So, what do I think the top 10 comedies from the year 2000 on are? I'll work from the bottom and work my way up. Number 10, I got Dodgeball. How is this not a classic? Ben Stiller. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody. Just a classic. Him and Vince Vaughn. A true underdog story, if you will. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Next up, I got Dewey Cox. Walk Hard. Wrong kid died. Just a great spoof of all of those, which we're still getting today. Those music biopics, how they follow a formula. That one's obviously taken a lot from Ray and Walk Hard, which were big back-to-back years. Joaquin Phoenix and Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx won the Academy Award, but I think that kind of led to Joaquin Phoenix not win the Academy Award. But this movie is hysterical. Dude, you don't want any part of this shit. It's marijuana. Well, what is that? It turns all of your bad feelings into good feelings. It's well, he's like, oh, it's probably really addicting. It's non-habit forming. He's like, oh, I kind of want to have it. It just gets escalating to every drug until the very end when it's Viagra. Funny stuff. Number 8, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. One of the greatest stoner comedies of all time. Revitalized Neil Patrick Harris's career. But I mean, they have great chemistry in this movie. I never thought I would care about freaking Harold and Kumar going to White Castle, but I truly love that movie. I actually like the entire trilogy. Some people think that Escape from Guantanamo Bay is the best. I think the original one's still the best one. You can only really capture lightning in a bottle once, but they somehow did it. The third one with the 3D stuff was a fun little Christmas movie. I run back to that one the least, though. Number 7, I got 2005's Wedding Crashers, celebrating its 20th anniversary, so I got my fingers crossed that we get a 4K Blu-ray of that. Baba Ganoush, another Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson. They were teaming up a lot, like kind of like the modern day, like kind of group of them too. Ben Stiller, Anchorman. They were like the rulers of like 2000 to like 2009. I would have to say their entire group of people. Wedding Crashers is just a phenomenal comedy. I quote that movie all the time as well. Number 6, The Other Guys. This is another movie you probably see me like, thanks for the F-Shack shirt, but me, my brother-in-law, my wife, other people that I work with, like we quote The Other Guys all the time. One of Will Ferrell's most quotable movies, in my opinion. Like every day, we'll just like one of us will like, we'll be at work at 9:15, obviously. 9:15, guys, let's have a great day. You'll hear somebody yell from across because we all know the movie. Cut the shit. When was the last time you did your last desk pop? September. Oh, wait. And then he shoots in the air. They were so convincing with their arguments. Number 5, just because I love Will Ferrell. Anchorman. Not Anchorman. Number 5 is Old School with him and Vince Vaughn again. Luke Wilson. This movie's a classic, just of the genre. 2002, same year as Elf. So Will Ferrell just on top of the world at this point. Just another very Todd Phillips who would go on to make The Hangover. He even pops up in the movie at the very beginning. Here for the orgy. Just classic stuff. Number 4, one of the best stoner comedies again, Pineapple Express. Out of Seth Rogen's projects that he ever done, I think Pineapple Express is my favorite of him. Teaming up with James Franco. This movie just gets out of hand. This is the one movie that also introduced me to Danny McBride, and it has a great payoff again. If you watch This Is the End, another Seth Rogen like vehicle, him and Evan Goldberg, they have that great writing partnership that's led to the studio, which I'm loving right now. You have to really appreciate, obviously, Seth Rogen's type of humor to appreciate Pineapple Express, but if you could appreciate that, I really do think you'll absolutely love it. Number 3, I got Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. Speaking of spoofing, like, music biopics, this is a mockumentary of like the boy bands at the time, except it's Connor for Real, played by Andy Samberg, who does a great job. There's another one, Tim Meadows, who pops up, and Dewey Cox also is in this movie as well. Great scene where the camera's off with the bee. I love this movie. Tim Meadows, I've always felt like it's one of those really underrated comedians. He didn't get the love he deserved despite being on Saturday Night Live. He's been a great, phenomenal supporting actor for all these years. I think this is the one where he was the fourth Tony. I was in Tony, and Tony. I was the end Tony, but they fired him for whatever reason. At number 2, MacGruber. This is a spoof of all the 1980s action movies, and obviously making fun of MacGyver. One of the best SNL movies based on an SNL skit. MacGruber was a great skit, and you also brought back what's her name, Kristen Wiig. She's great. 30 seconds, MacGruber. That's great. Val Kilmer, R.I.P. Val Kilmer, is great as Wiener von Kumpf. I don't know how to say his name. I'm gonna go pound some Kumpf. Just phenomenal stuff. Will Forte, hysterical. He's an idiot, but somehow still comes out on top. And then number 1, probably no surprise to anybody, Anchorman. This is funny because when I first saw this in theaters, I didn't think it was that great, but this is the kind of movie that you just quote and it wears you down to the point where you know every single line in the movie. Saint Diego. It's just so many. How could you say that wrong? So that's my top 10 of the 2000. I, of course, custom sleeves for Jurassic Park trilogy with the original post art. And I wouldn't expect anything else from you, mellow fellow, because you wouldn't let me down with that. I hated Dodgeball. Didn't find it funny at all. Sorry, but loved Walk Hard. Never have to apologize for not liking something I like. This is the beauty of film, guys. It's subjective. I try and tell people that all the time. If you hate something that I love or you love something that I hate, No reason to feel bad about that. That's the thing with movies, and that's the thing about being a human being. We all have different opinions on things, and we should be able to respect each other's opinions. Pineapple Express is one of my very favorites. Want to just put a nice big old stack of butter on some flapjacks and having melt. I just absolutely love that. But anyway, guys, it's kind of winding down for me. I'm gonna get out of here. So I hope you guys enjoyed the live Q&A show. We are gonna do this again. I believe this one will probably be next week sometime when I get my regular work schedule. I will schedule it for next week sometime. I'll let you guys know ahead of time. But we will be live again this Friday for the Let's Talk morning show with me and Dennis. We'll be talking wrestling, and we'll go over that second YouTube channel. So if you were interested in that and wondering what we're doing over there, join us this Friday. You can also pop in the chat and just ask some regular questions. So if you have any questions for Dennis, I know he would appreciate that. So when I put that up, you want to throw some questions in there ahead of time, feel free. But that'll be this Friday at 7:30 a.m. So Frank on the West Coast, that's 4:30 a.m. if you want to get up with us. I don't blame you or anybody who doesn't want to get up with us. But, Dennis has his regular job at 9, and I can't withhold him from that. So, because that's how he makes a living. I'm glad I was able to see the live. Well, that's one thing that's cool because you live over on the over the pond, as we like to call it, on the other side. So you guys are actually ahead of us. Like, you guys are in the afternoon over there. Like David, I know it's 5 hours ahead in Ireland. So it's almost 5 o'clock dinner time there. I'm not sure where exactly it is by you, mellow fellow, as far as time goes, but you guys are ahead. So these early ones probably work best for you guys over on the European side, or even on the Asian side, depending how far people are who are watching the show. But for my West Coast US people, man, it's probably brutal right now. So, okay, so you're on the same exact time zone as David at 4:45. It's the same time it is in Ireland right now. So, yeah, that's it's probably a lot cooler for my friends over there compared to like my friends over on the West Coast here, Vegas. I have family, but I don't know, it's the way she goes sometimes. I can only fit it in when I can. This is not my job. As much as I wish it was, it is not. This is more of a hobby first and foremost, but it's a hobby I share with you guys, and I absolutely love it. And I want to thank you guys all for being here with me today. I want to thank my channel members because that does help support the channel. Next week, I'll take a picture of them, unless I got them around here. I got to show you guys for the members channel giveaway. We like to do the 4K Blu-ray giveaway every single week. We will be doing that next Tuesday on the morning show, so make sure you guys are there. If you guys are a channel member of the Producers Hire, we do a 4K Blu-ray giveaway every single month. You have options. So if you are a channel member under that, friends of the channel, you get like extra videos each and every week, which we might have to adjust because the views on those extra videos not doing so well. So I don't know how we'll do that. But anyway, I want to thank all of you guys, Frank for Frank's Media and Reviews, Mr. Smelly Potato, our bankroll member, Uncle V, Kevin Kruger, Nicholas Head, everybody. Thank you guys all so much. Your support means the world to me, and we'll see you guys around.